Mirror, mirror on the wall, how am I doing today? Not so good. Okay. A long time ago, back in let's see, what was it? 1979. This person, I believe, was in Connecticut, in the United States, in Connecticut. He helped to design this particular mirror, and it was designed to help people see themselves in a clear light, in a clear perspective. This person had gone through an awful lot of studies and saw that women especially, not so much men, but it's basically women that seem to have this problem much more than men. And that is because women spend more time in the mirror than men. I don't know how it is here in Scotland. Maybe it's the opposite. You know, maybe the pubs is a mirror. I mean, who knows? I don't know. But in most parts of the Western world, more women spend more time in front of the mirror. A phenomenon had occurred as a result of that. And women are more subjugated to advertising. And advertising, you could say, is geared towards women, basically. Very little towards men. So all the money is put in the line of attracting the female from a very early age. Everything from cigarettes to blouses to skirts to shampoo to makeup, etc., etc., etc. And the image, more than anything else, the image, and not just the products or the byproducts of this particular advertising agency. And because the image of a human being, the image of life, the image of what is above, the image of my true self, the image of my father, the image of my nation, the image of my scary parts, it's a very real thing that we are all subjugated to on many, many levels from a very early age. The image, the initial imprint of a first date, of walking in to that first day we apply for a job, that initial imprint, again, the image, taking pictures, taking a picture. Do you see him in your head? Can you see it? Can you imagine this? Can you really, really paint the person to look differently? The image. And this image is, you could say, it is of spirit. And all we have done is literally cross the borders and transcended this into mirrors, into advertisement, into the shape of a body, a two-piece bathing suit, turn your head a little bit, or have a little sexy movement, or whatever. So the image has literally translated itself into paper and print, pictures in essence. And this has literally destroyed a lot of young women. They have become anorexic. They have developed, a lot of women have become, their image was lowered drastically as a result. Because not all women look alike. We are all so different. But the image that advertisement has taken up, they have taken that women are supposed to look like this. Everyone's supposed to look like this. Otherwise, and that has literally brainwashed a whole world, actually. Literally brainwashed the whole world. And we're all suffering from it now in a terrible way. It's a terrible, terrible disease, what we have done to ourselves. We bring it to ourselves for the sake of profit. And as a result of this cruelty that is happening, and it's taking place, it's nothing but greed, profit, and cruelty. That's all it is. The nature of it is cruelty, what we do to our women. And because the image does not match so many women, everybody wants to, do I please you? Do you like me? Do you like my face? Do you like my shoulders? Do you like my butt? Do you like my legs? Do I look right? Do I please you? We want to please. We have done this with our parents. We do it with our parents. We do it with our friends. You know, it's just something that to carry on this image from a very early age, and then to captivate the 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, and start to brainwash them with another image that maybe they don't have that same image, that same model's face, the same model's body. Then all of a sudden it starts to destroy the inner image inside that was so easily cared for and supported by the parents. And if that child doesn't have a good, strong foundation, they easily break their own image and start to adopt another image that is on the front cover of a cosmopolitan magazine. Not so nice. It's a very powerful, let's say, it's a very powerful attack. It's a very powerful attack. It's shooting ourselves in our own shoes, blowing away our feet, blowing away what a human being really is, and putting ourselves up on an image. It's nothing more than walking into a church and you got all these statues and putting the image there on the altar. The image is on the front page of Cosmopolitan, Eli, all these other magazines that exist for women. And as a result of this, and it is so effective, to change the image, it is so effective that from a very early age, the women, they start to look at it, and then what they do, they need to get some form of a reflection. So they look to see how other girls work, how other women look, and you know, what works, what doesn't work, what do they like, what do they think is going to work for them, what's going to improve on them. And the other thing in this world that we use is mirrors to help use that, because if we can't get the feedback from other women or other men and we don't get the right feedback, or we need more feedback, we go to the mirror, don't we? Go right to it. And even though it doesn't speak back, it does speak back. Even though it doesn't do criticism, it does do criticism. But in essence, we know it doesn't, because it doesn't speak to us. But it is our inner self that speaks to ourself in the mirror. And once this image has been created and there's been a shift inside of the self-esteem, the original image has been broken down to be substituted by another image that has been printed on a magazine, then it starts to bend the light inside. It starts to create a misfiring inside the brain. Because most children, they're born with a beautiful firing. It's like the brain is very much like a car engine, an automobile engine, and it has these spark plugs. And then when all the spark plugs and the timing works correctly, the car is beautiful. It just runs beautiful. But if one spark plug is off, forget it. Forget it. You're going to have problems. It's not nice. As it is with the brain. Once the self-esteem is gone, one spark plug is gone, the rest of the brain starts to misfire. Now, image has been broken down. It's not firing correct. I don't feel good. I don't feel quite so right about myself. I'm just somehow not so happy, because there's misfiring. That's all it is, just basically some misfiring going on here. And so we go to a mechanic to somehow put a new spark plug or fix this, and that is your mother, your father, your friend, a counselor. It could be a doctor. It could be a book. It could be a walk. It could be some good food. It could be a good sleep, a good rest. And that is the mechanic that's somehow supposed to get the spark plugs to start to fire better or correctly. So we start to feel okay with ourselves. But we all know in time what happens. Everything starts to break down. And then when we start to look into the mirror, because the mirror gives us it is supposed to give us a true image. But when the misfiring has taken place, and that individual, that young person is looking into the mirror, what they do, they are using external light, first of all. They use external light, whether it's a sunlight or incandescent light or incandescent light. And that light is reflecting off the mirror or reflecting off your eyes and bouncing back and forth, and then that light goes into the eyes. And if your brain is misfiring, that light goes in and you could say it gets twisted, like it's glass in a bathroom. If all bathrooms, usually the glass is frosted over so you cannot see through. Well, it's kind of like the same thing when there's misfiring. The light goes through this kind of glass and pretty soon it gets twisted. And you twisted it for the image that you had just bought from the magazine. So therefore, when you look in it, you don't quite, you say, my God, I don't look good. And you could say a face that all photographers would love to print, but you have twisted your own image because it doesn't match the one that you want. And so you're starting to twist your face around inside your head because of the misfiring. And as a result, a lot of women, in essence, they become anorexic because the light has been already twisted too much. So in essence, you're supposed to be thin, and so they have created this thinness even more so. And so in essence, the thinness has been, you could say, completely reversed. So inside they make their face bigger. They make their stomachs bigger. They make their shoulders bigger. They make their head bigger. Their nose is bigger. The ears are bigger. The lips are bigger. Everything's bigger, fatter. But it's an illusion because they have created inside because it doesn't match the image externally from the magazine. And so then anorexic, the terrible illness of being anorexic comes into view and becomes part of their existence. And now when they look in the mirror, it goes through this frosted glass, twists the image, all of a sudden the face is fatter, and they said, oh my God, I got to stop eating. I'm eating too much. Because the image has been twisted. And so as a result, this particular person in Connecticut saw that people who have paid attention too much to these magazines, and they didn't have a good foundation enough to override the 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old phenomenon, because walking into adulthood, that they got trapped in it. That a lot of women, they become anorexic, or this happens, or that happens, or who knows. Well, as a result, naturally, when they go in front of not a person, but a mirror, they have a misimage by the misfiring. And so in essence, when an anorexic looks into the mirror, they see someone bigger. So that means, and in reality, if they're not that much bigger, and they look fine, they're really too thin, and they see themselves big, all right, how can we change and alter this image inside? Well, we have found out that people tend to live either in the left brain or the right brain, or they lived in the back of the left brain to the left, or they live to the frontal part of the brain of the right, or they live to the back brain of the right, or who knows. In essence, the persona of every human being is very much like the person in the basket. You know the hot air balloons? The hot air balloons. Here's a hot air balloons. And the person in the basket, where you are really coming from, who you really are. You are a person in a basket. And you're never still. You're always traveling everywhere inside that brain of yours. You're traveling everywhere. And you're traveling light speed. And sometimes we travel very slow. And so, but we always kind of find our couch, our favorite home, or our favorite room inside. And so this image in the basket, am I going too fast for you? No? Okay. Well, because in the rest of Europe I can't speak fast because I got it. Yeah. Yeah? Okay, well, good. Because I can't speak fast when I'm in Europe. Because nobody really understands English, and I got to really slow down, and I got a lot to say. So, so where was I? The basket, the human basket. So everyone, because they have their own unique personality, that person in the basket tends to go where it's most familiar, where they are basically coming from. Some of us are coming for more feelings, some of us are coming for more color, some of us are coming for more excitement, some of us are coming for more silence, okay? And so this person in the basket tends to gravitate towards that one area where you are most familiar with. Some part in the left brain or the right brain, or to the back, to the left, where some people they love to hear. They live through hearing. They sense everything through hearing. Some people sense everything through sight. Some people sense everything through touch. For some people, it's all through imagination. Some people daydream. So this person in the basket tends to go where they naturally love to go, so to speak. It's kind of like their nature. And once you find out where this nature is, and then there you are sitting or standing there in front of the mirror, and you're looking through this frosted glass, and you don't know it. And the person who has designed this mirror understand that because of their nature, of where they're coming from, that they're looking through their left eye or their right eye, basically. So we are basically dominant in our left or dominant in our right. Very few people are you could say, unisex. Huh? Understand that word? Everybody, okay? Okay. Hey. Okay. So basically, very few people are unisex with this, where they literally parallel sight is the name of the game. They walk with both feet. They walk in with both hands. They may still be dominant right-handed, but left hand is still right there. It's because of habit. But basically, both brains are being utilized, you could say, simultaneously. They're both firing. Whereas basically people choose sides. And that's what creates the war inside and creates all the confusion. So what happened is that because people are basically dominant, and the more unaware you are, the less conscious you are, the less consciousness you are, the more you become dominant to one side, either left or dominant right. The more you carry more mental illness, especially, then you really become more pinpoint dominant, left or dominant pinpoint right. So this person, this person should be, it's people like this I love. It's people like this that I'm saying they're good and wonderful people everywhere, everywhere. You just got to know, where to find them and where to look. This person gave humanity a gift, and when I found this in an article, I thought this is going to just spread throughout the world, and the advertisements are going to hate it, and it hardly went anywhere. Only a few people, basically therapists, picked it up. And because, like everything else, it's either profit, you got to make the money. If nobody buys it, if it's not successful, you just got to let it go. And this had to be let go eventually. But I got wind of quite a few, and I use it. I use it a lot, especially for young women, young girls, and even for men, people who have a problem with anorexia or some kind of any other mental illness inside, to help straighten it up. Because what this mirror does, here on this side, we have a regular mirror. And what he did, he designed this other side that it's a play of glass. And he found a unique way to place his glass. I don't know how it works inside. But But it's a series of glass, and the two mirrors, they have to be lined up perfectly. It's funny, like you would think that if the mirrors, if you line up two mirrors here, whether you do it here or here, that it's going to be somewhat aligned, and it's not. If it's off just a little bit, you're cut in half. So this, on this particular side, it is not a regular mirror. And what this side does, it literally creates a way and a means so that your dominant eye is not going to see this. Your other eye is going to see this, because what this does, this completely reverts the image. Completely reverse the image. So it's like when a person looks into a mirror and they're dominant on one side, this eye is looking, and whatever image you have of your side, if you're twisted inside, if you have bent the light inside, if you have frosted glass inside, this dominant eye is going to create an image of what you want to see, of what has been created, what has been recreated inside. But if you can get this eye to look into the mirror, you're going to see a true image, because you have not brainwashed this side. This side has been brainwashed. Brainwashed. It's literally brainwashed people. And when this side has not been brainwashed, and you create a piece of glass that forces the biological body to completely revert itself to see the opposite side, you're going to see yourself in true light, as you really look, as other people see you, not as your brainwashing sees you. Now, you can brainwash the other side by constantly looking into this other side, and then you got both sides brainwashed. Then you are happy. You are complete. Then you are truly whole. Isn't that nice, huh? Wholesome. Wholesome. Okay? So, that's what this does. If you see one side, and when you look at the mirror that we are all used to, and then you flip it, and you see there's a difference. You don't quite recognize. You have brainwashed yourself. You have brainwashed yourself. You have been duped. You have talked yourself, you have painted yourself into another image that's not there. It's an illusion. You're looking at an illusion. And people do this all the time. And this is done over the magic of mirrors. Again, the real magic, the real mirror, the real magic of all mirrors is inside your head. This is where we really do it, not out there. All we do is get confirmation out there. And this, you could say, it gives us beautiful confirmation about our left brain, right brain, and where we are coming from with this. And that's what this is. So it's really good to use. And, I mean, you got to, I have seen people look at that and then flip, and all of a sudden, you could see that they're a little shocked, and then they say, oh, there's no change. I've seen men do that all the time. Men, of course. Women, they're a little more honest with themselves. Men lie a lot with that. Huh? Not me, buddy. What are you talking about? Yes. Wait a minute.
It creates also, I watched a few of our friends. It creates also panic.
It does create a panic. It's something that's really quite serious. If a person has anorexia, it should be done under the closed doors with a therapist. Yes.
That if somebody, we look at as a mirror, and somebody else is beside,
Yeah.
they see us like they see without a mirror?
No, because it's such a small surface that it's difficult for someone to get in there. That's my experience. So it's very difficult. No. It's only because the surface is so small. You could only basically get one head. You can get little side peripheral perceptions, but it's not enough.
But even if the other person would see a little bit,
Yeah.
they wouldn't see the difference because they always.
Right. They already flipped. Right. Yeah. And if you find yourself going into a little shock, yeah. How many have looked into the mirror, to the magic mirror? And how many saw a change? Big change, huh? God, I love life. Yeah. Yeah, if we can, if we, people, hey. Okay. If I was Indian from India, I would, oh, please. That if you saw a difference, oh, please. That if your brain did that and you did not know it all these years, oh, please. What else have you done with the rest of the world? Can you trust anything you see? Can you trust anything you hear? Can you trust anything that you do? Be wise with your life. Once you got good, solid proof, of what your predicament is as a human being, stay with it and don't jump to another subject. You got evidence. What a human being needs to do, the first stage of waking up is to go back and befriend your mind. Anybody who has literally created a change where the brainwashing has took effect, it has taken over you, you are not a friend to your mind. Your mind is not a friend to you at all. It is the enemy. It is this. It is throwing dice. Mind doesn't trust you. You don't trust yourself. Sometimes you trust. Sometimes the mind trusts you. Sometimes. I don't know. Let me see. What time is it? What time? What time was that? You don't know. So the evidence is, if it's twisted, how can I know? If your mind is twisted, be a professional. Be a true professional. And know what it is to be looking through bathroom glass, bending the light. And so go do everything in your world. Say, my God, I bend the light. I don't know where I bend it, but I do bend the light. So that means, in essence, you got to learn to walk, talk, eat, sleep, crawl, dream, all over again, but with honesty. Because what has bended the light? Ignorance, pain, disappointment. Ignorance, pain, disappointment. The adult community twisted, giving you twisted light, teaching you twisted light. The adult community being twisted and you observing the twist. Look what the adult community did to the children back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, threatening them with nuclear holocaust. And we're still threatened by it. literally threatened to death all these people with nuclear holocausts, twisting the light inside, tying it up in knots, tying up that brain in knots. And society has all kinds of ways and means to do this. And then we get brainwashed and don't even know it. This is the evidence. Get the evidence. So that means you got to go back and start all over again. I'm really touching a wall. That's it. I can't twist this. I can't twist it. I'm touching. See, we grow up so fast, people. We are forced to grow up. In the Western world, you are literally forced to grow up way beyond your time. There's very little time for play. And you're forced into the head with logic and reason. And then when it comes to all this becomes transparent. It becomes fluid. It becomes like a dream. It's just a thought. It stays in a thought. Becomes just a thing. And then all of a sudden we start to pride ourselves that I know what that is, I know what that is, I know what that is, I know how that works, I know that logic, I'm that smart, I'm real smart, I am really smart, I can count, oh I know my numbers, oh I know my math, oh I know that, oh I know that. But we're not in our skin. We're not in our blood. Can hardly laugh at ourselves. And pretty soon in time, we take life so seriously, we can hardly laugh at hardly anything. Go and do baby steps. Teach yourself baby steps first. Get on your knees. I know it's... I know you're grown up. I know you're so wonderful. But start to crawl on your belly all over again. Feel the earth all over again. And this time, know it that you're crawling. You're not standing, you're crawling. You're not standing, you're crawling. And after many, many hours, when you really know you are crawling on the earth and your mind will not lie to you, you will not lie to yourself and pretend that you're standing. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I used to take people out for a whole day. Then I cut it back to half a day. I would, and I'd walk them. I'd walk them through neighborhoods, teach them about themselves. You're going to have to, I want you to, everybody put up the chairs. Spending half a day with a person, it helps, and sometimes it really doesn't help, because people's agendas are people's agendas, and the trick to really developing is try to find out what your agendas are first. What I found out from people is that I found that it's very, very cheap. It's really cheap and it's really easy to speak with your mouth of what you think you want, but most people don't really want it. This is what I found out. In time, it told me. And I found myself, you could say, believing what people say. And I found out that's ignorance. It's real ignorance. It's easy to speak, but to follow through, that's what's difficult with most people. there was this lady, a business lady, educated lady, successful lady in business. And she had gone through all the various developments of workshops, doing this, doing that, doing this. And one day she's at my workshop. And you could see this lady's really bright, like she really, really wants to wake up. And she's going to do everything in her power to do it. She's really giving herself out to do it. I'm taking her for a walk in this neighborhood. And I could see that, because everybody says, tell me my blindness. Tell me where I really need to grow. Tell me what I really need in my life. That's dangerous, I found out. That's very, very dangerous. Nice, but too dangerous. Because basically what most people are saying, get me there as fast as possible, but just a little bit at a time. Please. Get me there tomorrow, but don't make me hurt. Okay. So, and this lady had that, and she says, just really give it to me. Give it to me to what's really in my way. Okay, and I'm ignorant at this time. Yeah? So, okay, and so we're walking along, and I'm waiting for the right situation, and there we're coming across this intersection. Hardly any cars are there. It's all residential area. And there's this tall grass, really tall grass all in through here. And I says, God, hey, guys, I want you to do, lie down. There's nobody here. Just lie down. Lie down. No, lie down. Lie down. Now, and lie down. Okay. Okay. Just lie down. Right? Okay. This is what I did. That's how I brought her down. Okay. And there she was. There she was. Just like this in the tall grass, and you couldn't see her. The grass was just really tall all around her, and there was a picket fence right here. And I said, just stay right there. Stay right there. Just stay right. I'll be here. I'm going to come back. Okay? I'm going to come back. Okay? And so I go around. Okay? I go. Okay? And I could see that what was really in her way was her image. What was in her way was her self-image. And because she was already so scared, because her image already, lying in the grass in this neighborhood, hiding like this. I did not have to go all around the block. I didn't have to. She was so scared, all I had to do was go around at the four corners of the area of the block and just slowly, quietly walk back. She couldn't see me. She's too scared. Her image has got her. Okay? And so I slowly, quietly, like a lion, and when I tapped her, this is what she said. She was just like this, and when I tapped her, I'm okay. There's nothing wrong. I'm really standing up. I'm okay. I'm really just standing up. And she couldn't see me, and she's looking right at me. She's looking right at me, and she's telling me, it's okay. I lost something here, but I'm really standing up. I just lost something, and I haven't found it yet. And there I am looking at her. When the fear relaxed just a little bit, and she was able to see that it was me, all of a sudden this, what appeared initially to be a wonderful, bright, highly evolved human being, was a very scared person with an image that wasn't correct. She lived in fear her whole life because her image wasn't correct at all. It wasn't the grass that it was. The fear was already there, locked into it. She never came back to see me again. Never. She never called. She never, nothing. It was months later that I got word that she said, "He's too much. He reveals too much. It's too blunt." Too blunt. Too much. And that's true. Teach me everything, enlighten me, but don't make me suffer. This is what I know of people. And that's why I teach the way I teach today. Image. ¿Comprende? The image that we have built ourselves, the image that we have painted ourselves with, from my point of view, there's no way I'm going to tackle that. There's no way I am ever going to, let's say, try to change it, try to manipulate it, try to eradicate it, try to wash it away, or try to erase it. There's no way. It's a waste of time. I leave you with your image. But your heart, that's my specialty.
And it's coming more in the heart, change the image, and then make the image
Yes.
more honest.
Yes. 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 Because of tears, because of feelings, because of really starting to feel your skin and hurt, you're not locked. You're not locked in your fear. You're not locked in your image. What was so shocking, how she was just looking right at me and she couldn't see me. Because she had been looking through her own image, and now that person in the basket is deeply inside the head. Deeply where she has been locked all these years. That is what's looking at me, and that she can't see. So my job is to assess what your image is of yourself and to see how you have painted yourself. Put it on the wall and see what it is that your heart needs to help soften your image, to help give you a truer image in the mirror. Not as you painted yourself, but as you are. As you are. Not as you think, but as you are. And madness occurs, insanity occurs when a person like this, the image, does not have access back out again. It gets locked in its box, it gets locked in its corner. And then easy to lose one's mind. So, what I do, I take pictures of your image. Yeah. Let's see, maybe I don't even need light here. Even the camera. Let's turn this off. Yes. Pictures are not real. Images can be volatile, can be deadly. Images helps to give really one's real perspective of blood or of spirit. Yeah.
Images are more real.
Images are more real than pictures.
Pictures are way out.
Yeah.
Way out.
Yeah. It's not pictures, it's images. The image.
If you find out through your life that you have
A false.
a false image,
Yeah.
then you start to see,
Yeah.
can you change it?
Yes, you can. But basically, if you have a good enough mind, a person has the capabilities of changing one's image. If you understand the mechanics of it all, you have a good chance of changing it. If you don't have that mind to understand the mechanical aspect of it all, and you got a few shortcomings of understandings that makes it possible, you can't. Then you have to go through another means of your heart. Your heart usually is what can change your image very quickly. Basically, quickly. Years, but it can do it. To care. Because what changed that image in the first place? Caring. Caring is what changed it in the first place. Caring for what, though? Caring to look like that. Caring to be like this person. Caring. Caring did it. Effort. Caring. Effort. Follow the caring. So to get your caring correct, get it correct. What is good caring? Say that again?
You say the change will come from caring, but doesn't it change sometimes if something just doesn't really work in your life?
If something doesn't really work in your life, I cannot answer that because that question is so, you can add so many factors to it. It's so relative, people, I've seen too many people say that they care, but it didn't work. That means you really didn't care and you really didn't work it right. A lot of people think you put a little bit of effort and you're supposed to get tons and tons of rewards. You're supposed to get St. Peter knocking on your door, or the angel Gabriel giving you a big birthday cake or something. It doesn't work like that. Don't expect rewards. Don't expect results. Don't. What are you doing when you do? Twist the glass a little bit more to get a reward. And when you don't get it, guess what's going to happen? The glass is going to get twisted a little bit more with disappointment. And then you have more proof to hate. Then you have more proof to be sad. And then you have more proof to be a failure. No rewards. Do not expect rewards at all. Don't expect results. When results happen, they will show themselves up in their own time, not your time, in their own time. If it takes years, give it a year. Don't, just keep working it. What matters is to stay with the point, and that point is to care. Christine McCarthy? Yeah, oh, yeah.
Are images being built by pictures?
Our images are being built by pictures.
They're
Be careful what picture you're looking at. See, it's just that the young ones are not educated about what these pictures really are. The parents are too busy. They say, oh yeah, they're nice pictures, and then their girlfriend, who they look up to, says, hey, look at this. Then you want to do it. Then you want to look up to it. Society should be educated about what the model industry is all about, and should be taught what the game is. Should be shown the game. If they don't see the game, they just live the game. And then the pictures dominate.
We're teach to teach children ideals. Those are a form of pictures, aren't they?
Ideals can be some form of pictures, but whoever is addressing the ideal is actually formulating a picture. So who's giving the ideal, who's giving the words, who's giving the images out that's going to form the picture in that head? Is the father insane? Is the father a little crazy? Is the father sane? Is the father wonderful? That determines everything. Is the child asleep? Is the child awake, pretty much? Does the child have the clarity to know the difference? It's a very complex situation here, but it takes effort to do this.
How can you go on caring without seeing some result?
Pardon me?
How can you carry on caring when you see no results?
How can you go on caring when you see no results? Don't expect results.
How do you maintain care when you become disheartened?
When you become disheartened and broken. To be disheartened is relative. To be broken is extremely relative. Extremely relative. All of these issues are so relative. It's kind of like pain is relative. And so first you got to understand what you are up against. People have when somebody doesn't give them a little something, all of a sudden they lose faith. Just with a little something. For some people, it takes a lot. You got to find out where you're all of a sudden the water flows over the glass. You got to find out what your tolerance is. You got to find out to see how relative your relativeness is and how you look at life. Some people, just a little bit, and they get flustered. Huh? To some people, just a little bit, a little loss is a great failure. You got to straighten all that up initially. In essence, it's like get yourself, find out how sane you are with everybody else's relativeness. And again, people, you got to start someday. You got to start from some line. You got to start from some place. You know, and if you really consider, everybody's got problems. I got problems just as many as anybody else. Nobody escapes it. No one does. But it's your perspective. It's your mirror inside. Here's another way of looking at it. This is how relative it is. Don't be fooled by your disappointment. Do not be fooled by your having less faith or failures not working out. Huh? Because your mind tricks you. Because you have tricked your own mind. You have tricked yourself. Your mind tricks you. That's because people lie to themselves. Put this. On your knees, on your all fours. No, yeah. Okay, I want you to, this is your burden. This is her burden, huh? Her guilt, huh? Okay, 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 and you got to drag it, okay, okay, okay. What's your problem?
Where do you want me to start?
What's your problem? Come on. What does it feel like? What does it feel like?
To drag this.
Yeah.
Not comfortable.
It's not comfortable. It's a lot of weight. But this is her guilt. This is her burden, huh? And it's a lot. It is a lot. It's an awful lot, huh? That's what she thinks. That's what she thinks. You can go. This is his burden. It's a smaller bag. But to this person, it's just as much as that bag. Just as much. It is just as much. Because this person, everybody is a phenomenon unto themselves. Everybody is a phenomenon. We all look through our own eyes. I have the worst pain. I carry the most guilt. I carry this. I, because you cannot see through another person's eyes. We could only look through our own eyes. How is your burden? I know that's a lot of weight. I know life is difficult. See? It's relative. You got to figure your mind out first. You have literally tricked your mind. Your mind has tricked you because people play games with it. And it's so relative, people. It is so, so relative. Do not be tricked by it. But is life difficult? Do you feel a weight? Do you feel your guilt? Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Carry it. You carry it with that same attitude. You carry it. If it's that much weight, change the attitude. Okay, if that is my weight, carry it, and it will lighten up in time. It will, people. And it will lighten up from me on him. It'll get lighter. It will get lighter. And it will get lighter. Inappropriate thinking puts more weight. Heavy words, heavy light, heavy thoughts, heavy guilt, lack of faith, no forgiveness. Life doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to get married again. And that's exactly what I had to do with myself. Carry all my weight. Carry it. Carry it. Carry it. Stop complaining. Carry it. Stop complaining. Carry it. Stop complaining and carry it because it's my weight. I created it. I carry it. I put the fat on. I carry it. They're my bones. I carry it. And in time, no problem. Tomorrow. The people on the side, better get more towards the center. You're gonna miss the. So if you would, let's say right about here, sit more towards the center. So these, unless you've already seen it, if you've seen it, you can just stay there. But if you haven't seen it, it's, yeah. Turn off the air conditioner. Throughout this whole tour, York, who's been managing the camera, he has been, we got together last tour, and the tour or the fire dances have never been documented. Everything just been of audio tape. And just thought it's best to document it. So we put the time and the money and the effort to film this whole tour, all the speeches and all the fire dances. There's many hours of tape as a result. The tour's 2 months. This is basically well, we got one more stop. And so in the past, because of technology, the technology wasn't quite there, and it was too expensive to really document it back then. But today, because the competition, that's the beauty of competition. Competition is really the most ingenious ways to help humanity, competition. Because of the way we have been taught in our school system. Competition brings the prices down. Competition gets inventors and draws up imaginations from people's minds to make things better. So not only so they can profit, so things are actually become better for people. And because of competition, has brought the price down of these chips, particular chips, and not just the lenses, but the hardware and the manufacturing, so people can afford them. And as a result, we have a now digital camera, not just tape, which is far, far superior than tape. And as you can see, what we are able to do now, because of digital, we can actually slow down what the normal eye cannot view, cannot see. Throughout all these years, because the fire dance basically moves somewhat fast, and everybody is moving somewhat fast also, breathing fast. And once a person starts to breathe a little bit faster than the norm, than what your mind and body is used to, it starts to, let's say it's kind of like when you're going for a walk, it's almost like going in a car and traveling 30 miles per hour. And then all of a sudden you start to jog a little bit, and now you're 60 miles per hour. And you start to run, now you're going 120 miles per hour. Well, the fire dance is something like almost 100 miles an hour. For some of it. Some of it still go 30. Some of it still go only 10. So the more you breathe, and the more you pick up your legs, and the more you dance, the faster you go, the faster the car is traveling down the highway. But the trouble with this is that as you're traveling 120 miles per hour, here comes another car coming in the opposite direction, traveling 120 miles per hour, and that's me, and you're traveling that way. It's not easy for you to see, to look across, and to see what I'm doing in my car, what I'm doing with the person in front of the altar. Because you're moving fast and I'm moving fast. And it's not that easy for even somebody traveling 30 miles per hour, even 10 miles per hour, because of the difference of speed. And the beauty of the technology of this digital, what we have, this particular technology, it allows it to slow down so everybody can view it and to see it. What is really going on? What's really going on? And as most of you know, it takes many, many, many years to really understand what the fire dance is all about, as you have learned in your life. And because of all these years that it takes, there's a dedication, not just dedication to you, but dedication to what you feel inside. And the fire dance is just not the highlight. And we all have learned that in time. And walking this out, this whole process is a very, basically a very slow process, but it takes an awful lot of dedication on your part with yourself in your own given life, and the everyday life that we all live out there. And as you now have observed, the fire there really is a relationship with the fire. There is a relationship with the fire that most people can't understand, or how it works, or what is going on here. And it is because of this understanding, this relationship with the fire dancer and the fire itself. Basically, the code to understand this is really quite simple. One's heart is the fire. One's heart is the light. One heart is the sun inside. So in essence, it's almost like walking back into oneself. It's almost like walking backwards into oneself. And this is what is basically painful for most people, to come to terms with oneself. And basically how we are. When it comes to what is perfect, you're going to have to throw that in the trash can. There's really no such thing. What can be perfect? And science is really coming down to that science. It's going to take down a little more time. Were they able to actually put one molecule on top of another to really get a straight line, whether making a particular fabric or putting various stainless steel to lead to copper to silver, putting one molecule on top of another. And whereas as of now we work basically with somewhat chaos, but really chaos is really very in the line of nature. And yet nature has found its way to somehow separate the molecules and the atoms between sticks and water, between water and leaf, between the leaf and the difference of a wing of a butterfly or a fly. And that between the molecule and the atoms of that of a cloud and your shoelaces, as well as the eyelash of your eyes, as well as the tip of your fingers. And to gain all these various, you could say, discretion that nature has really provided for itself. For it's very difficult for any bug to know the difference between a tree and a blade of grass. And yet they know, in essence, that they know what is on the grass. And yet, in essence, they know about their food, and they know very, very well about their own survival. And yet it just took a little bigger brain capacity for a human being in time, to somehow really understand that it is a cloud up there and not a bear changing its shape into a zebra or that into your uncle. But all it is just condensation of a different form. And this applies to us in our own minds. For we all have unique images onto ourselves, and we all yet say our images are basically just a matter of condensation, anything from that what is frozen, and actually mutating the molecules to what is basically just a cloud or just smoke rising up. This is what literally creates our thoughts and our feelings inside. But when a person buys these images and they believe these images, and all they are just formless clouds of smoke, this is where we get lost. So the science has to be well understood, not just externally to eliminate the superstitions that the forests are not embedded with spirits, whether they're good or evil. All they are just forests with little creatures and sometimes big creatures, as well as in the forest of our own head. For there's been an awful lot of legends and a lot of storybooks and a lot of fantasies that somehow we all have clinged on to, where the superstition has still kept us, you could say, that to so many people this earth is still basically flat. But as the people who basically believed it so long ago, they had no idea. And as it is for today too, we are really no different at all. Humanity, no doubt, has not come out of the dark ages at all. We've got still quite a ways to go. And now don't let your technology or shiny steel or shiny bracelets or the vast amounts of information that you can hold in your head think that this is the age of enlightenment, because it is not. All it is just another day in the life of Earth, slowly spinning, very, very gracefully, headed off into some direction into space, traveling 486,000 miles an hour through space. And yet, whether you are Irish, or whether you're Scot, whether you're a German, or any other descent, we are all headed into some direction. It is just that most people have never really contemplated into what direction are we headed to, or do you even care? For one should care where your feet are marching onto or walking to. One should care. For the beauty of having eyes to have foresight, to have prophecy, for the beauty of having an imagination, and for the beauty of having 20/20 vision, and sometimes, even if you're more fortunate, to have a most beautiful and powerful telescope or binoculars, as to see afar, and what is afar to bring it close. For this earth is no doubt, there's a very good reason why it exists, and it does make sense, and there is definitely a plan of where this earth is headed to. Just that most people have never really sat down to really contemplate really what are the true rights of a human being, and not just of Irish, American Indian, or Russian. And yet we all have rights politically. We kill each other and raise war, kick up smoke, print newspapers, kidnap people, rape people, molest people. We build homes, build factories, build contracts, build families, build highways and roads, even tunnels that can cross an ocean. And yet the rights of a real human being inside, that sometime in your life you have to slow down and look up, and always look up when the sun is gone. For the sun is what really blinds people on this planet. People basically do not really understand what light is. Very misgiven of so much misinformation. But if you really take a look and contemplate this, it is the sun. The sun is really not a natural light at all. It is a light of cause and effect. And it is this particular light that basically does blind people. And basically what the sun does, it puts everything under the sun, on a frying pan. And we all become Mexican jumping beans. It's just not the heat, and whether you are here in Ireland, or whether you're in the North Pole, the light starts to give that human being a focus, a way, a path, something to see and something to do. And yet this is wonderful, and this is the way it is here. But when it comes to the spirit inside, and what this spirit really means inside, can this sun penetrate the light inside you? Can this sun penetrate that light deep inside your heart? No, it can't. The sun stops at your skin. The sun basically stops at the surface. And yet somehow we know that there's a light inside. And yet somehow we know that this light exists inside. And yet somehow we had literally classified this light and this light as just the light, but there's a very big difference. There's a big difference between the waters of all the rivers. There's a big difference between the blood of all human beings. There's a big difference between the rains, where there's too much smog, and when the air is very clean. And as there is for light, for the real light of all human beings that exist inside everyone's heart is a light of uncaused light. There's no cause of this light whatsoever. And where there's no cause, there's no effects. Is it a light that just simply is? There's no source for it. It doesn't come from no direction. It is unidirectional. Light just simply is, with no cause, creating no effect. This is our natural light. But because it's so easy to just get up and live the day and not think much about it, and thinking that this particular light is saving your ass, and all it does is just educate us so we don't run into trees, and so we can put food on our table and somehow have parties and get around and somehow learn to drive cars and learn of this land and learn of this planet as fast as we can before we have to leave. The sun, 24 hours a day, is constantly emitting protons that are constantly activating cause and effect. Photosynthesis, evaporation, causing suntans on people, causing people to run into the shade, creating light so we can read books and magazines and newspapers. It creates light so there's enough light so we can start to build our skyscrapers. It creates imaginations of night and day so somehow we can rest and then get up and do a dance of the day, and sometimes even dance at night to beautiful music. But yet all humanity's been taught under cause and effect. And because of this particular philosophy that has been embedded, literally you could say brainwashed, and this cause and effect has literally translated itself into all religions and all philosophies. And pretty soon what is above is also cause and effect. What is below is also cause and effect. And no matter what dimension it is, that human being can no longer think of on cause, because the brainwashing has been effective, extremely effective. For those are the only references that that human being has is cause and effect. And so no matter what you think, do, hear, and say, it is emanated from a cause. It is because of an effect. If it's because of an effect, there's a cause. And if there's a cause, there's going to be another effect. And if there's going to be an effect, there's going to be a cause. In essence, it's nothing but up and down. Happy, sad, joyful, angry, hate, love. Forget, I see what happened. And this effect of cause and effect has literally caused more wars, caused more confusion throughout all of humanity and throughout time. And when there's nothing but cause and effect, who has really a chance? You head up, there's going to be a cause, there's going to be an effect. You head down, there's going to be a cause, there's going to be an effect. Somebody does something wrong, there's a cause, there's going to be an effect. A constant chain, a reaction, a domino effect that just never stops. And the mind sees this. The mind understands this. The mind sees this a lot better than you understand that. Your subconscious understands all this much better than you'll ever imagine. And this domino effect is endless. Time cannot stop it. And it will continue on, because this universe is, you could say, based on cause and effect. Without a sun, what can a world as we know it to be? Without dust in the solar system, how can suns be born? Without the shadows, how can there be light? Without space, what can the earth stand on? Without gravity, where would you be? Without clouds, what would happen to shade? Without mothers and birth, where would death be? If there was no death, where would a beginning start? Because your references are totally based on cause and effect, no matter what you hear, think, do, and say, no matter who is speaking, you are based, you are coming from cause and effect. So your brain is literally categorizing every word, every nuance, every tone with cause and effect, therefore missing the whole speech, therefore missing and misunderstanding the whole teaching. Because the teaching is. The teaching simply is, and that's what confuses so many people. And that's why you can never grasp it. And that's why your minds and your personalities will fight it. That's why you find yourself sometimes lost. But you see, the reality is you are lost. You have no idea where you are in space. You do not know what the coordinates are. And when it comes to the grid system of the whole system, in what parallel, in what direction are you in life? And if that is the reality, I say to you, you be that reality and know it well. For most human beings, they think that they are found, they know where they are at, and they do not even know. You're just on a piece of land, And whether that piece of land is in India, Greenland, China, or Mongolia, it is really basically the same land in the same atmosphere, encompassed within the same bubble, breathing the same air. The oxygen is not Chinese and is not Irish. And what is above is not Irish and it's not Chinese either. And so therefore all this brings life into a very unusual paradox. It's just that people are not taught to understand think, be, do, hear, say, eat, sleep as a paradox. They're taught to live, walk in linear fashion. And this is what gives your mind inappropriate pride, thinking that once you learn something, you get a little ounce of pride that goes with it, and you think you got it. But we live a little too fast. And whether you exist in the year 1100 AD or 864 BC, it is really always too fast. For the existence of human beings, and whether it is 6 seconds or 660 years, it is really, really too fast. There's so much to do, see, hear under this sun. So many lands, not just to touch, but so many lands to plant, not just flowers and corn, but lands to walk and to learn of. Different clays, different colors, different shores, even different settings of moons and suns. So many valleys to walk, so many homes to sleep in, so many beds to make, so many dishes to wash, so many different kinds of foods to eat, and so many clouds to see. So many wonderful storms to experience and to be in, everything from tornadoes to hurricanes. And the hurricanes that exist within your own mind, and the tornadoes also within your own mind and heart. And also to experience very cloudless days, soft days, and days of high humidity and even low. And days where the heat will literally scorch your skin, where you have to run into shade or wear a big sombrero hat. And so many waters actually to know. Waters high in the mountains that are the color of aquamarine and somewhat even blue. And waters of the valley that are not aquamarine anymore, no longer pure, but pulling down the earth, pulling down the mountains, stone by stone, grain by grain, earth by earth. And as the waters bring down our mountains and hills in time, the land underneath, the molten niggle, slowly, slowly rising up in time, creating more mountains, more valleys. For the farmer of life, what most people call God, is basically a farmer of life that plants the life for the next given life of all creatures. There's no such thing as time, really. All there is having eyes to see and to comprehend and to eat, to get scars along the way, to cry, to laugh, climb a tree when you can, and learn so much before one has to lay down one's head on the pillow and close your eyes and literally being forced to go to sleep due to a heavy day at work taking care of the kids, due to a heavy day at home. Life is something that is so arduous. Life is something that can be so, so difficult. And And your life can be very simple in so many ways. We all have our different angles. We all have our different views. We all have ways and means to look at life. We can be prejudiced. We can fight. We can kill. We can love. We can pretend. We can be ignorant. We can be stupid. We can forget. But we can try to create an image. There's so many ways to paint this world. So many ways. Please turn off your phone. Please turn off your phone. Turn off your phone, please. How a little rain can disturb the teaching and stop it, the distractions. But how many distractions have we in our life? How many distractions do we all create with ourselves? It could be an accident. It could be an airplane. It could be someone yelling, pulling us away from our attention, pulling us away from the situation. Distraction can be a store with clothes, with cameras, with toilet paper, even toothpaste. Distraction sometimes can be a man or a woman. It all depends on how you look at it. No distractions. It can be nothing but beauty to watch. If there's too much hate, it's a distraction. If you love life, it's all beautiful. And somehow life is the way you perceive it and how you see it. And yet, along the way, people create their philosophies. Philosophies that are Irish, philosophies that are German, philosophies that are even American Indian. And somehow we'll even defend these philosophies, and we'll even kill other people to make sure that these philosophies are not hindered or downgraded. And yet no one wants to be killed themselves, and yet we will kill others. How funny we all are. How funny. We all want to be liked. We all want to be fed. We all want to be clothed. We all want to be housed. How funny it is. We have been taught to pretend with our lives. We have been taught to put on a show. And yet most of us, we come home and when there's no one to call us, no one knocking on the door, no thoughts intruding our own selves, no subconscious antagonizing or entertaining our higher mind. All of a sudden, it just comes down to me, myself, and I. And what do I do with myself? There's no full moon above. The sun has even been set. Somehow caught in between the new moon of darkness. Not even a star to see above. Too many streetlights. Cannot even see a shooting star. Too many streetlights. And one wonders way back then, when there weren't too many streetlights. I don't have so much city lights in my eyes anymore. But I was young then. Much younger, much more innocent. And somehow when I looked above at night, when there's no moon, there's nothing but little twinkling stars. And funny how the twinkling is just a result of an atmosphere of waves, of oxygen, of heat, and all kinds of other fine gases. Somehow turning on a light switch of off and on, somehow sending a Morse code, and I know that Morse code is for me. I know that code is really written for me. But I know in my heart it's not the same signals and the same code as Morse code, but it is a code of life. It is life speaking to me, and somehow I can hear it, and somehow I can tap with it, and sometimes I can dance with it, and sometimes I can even speak that code. And yet this is for all children. And that code that constantly emanates above. And every now and then there's a wish, a very fateful wish, that comes and flies across the sky, a shooting star. And that shooting star is just for me, as it is for all children. For a shooting star, you could say it's a composition of a line. A very unusual line, a line that has the life forces of all of life in it. A streak of light that really speaks to me, a streak of light that speaks to all. But to have the luck, to have the care, to bend the head, to use the neck for what it is for, and not just to look straight ahead or to look down or look to your left or look to your right, but to look up when you can, and to catch that shooting star, and to know that is life literally speaking to you. A code designed just between your bones and the bones above. And somehow there's an effect, but a most beautiful effect. Somehow there's a cause, and it's creating such a beautiful cause. For us human beings, we come down here to learn cause and effect, and to understand what the effects are as a result of so many causes, and vice versa. You take these causes and you take these effects, and you know that they only belong to earth. A stone you cannot take with you when you pass away. You can put it in your pocket, but trust me, it will stay here. You can take your arrows, you can take your bullets, you can take your missiles, you can even put your money in your pocket, but trust me, it will all still stay here. Even though you think it's nothing but an image that can be taken, but it can't. It belongs to this earth. This is not your home. And do not be misgiven by this, for you are all but guest, just a guest, a very temporary guest. A true guest is what? A true guest acts like what? And once that human being forgets that they are a guest, the illusion, the drama, the story begins. Then one starts to get lost. And one has no idea where this planet is headed to. One has no idea what the coordinates are anymore. It is your basic right to ask as a human being of uncaused light that keeps your mouth, keeps the jaw moving so you can speak, that keeps you blinking to put moisture into your eyes, that keeps a beautiful bell inside your eardrum humming. But sometimes you find yourself in step, in sync with life, and sometimes out of sync. And whether you're on top of a mountain, whether it is the highest or the lowest, or whether you're on your home or under the roof of the sky, it is your right to ask, where am I going? Where am I headed to? How beautiful maps are. How beautiful the lines are drawn. How beautiful the multicolors of the autobahns and the freeways and the highways and the byways, the side roads and the country roads, the dirt roads and the asphalt and the cement roads, the cobblestones and the little pathways, and not just pathways of human, but pathways of ants, the pathways of bugs and elephants and spiders, and the pathways of fish and the pathways of the birds. So many maps. And it seems like if you just stop and take a look and see, everybody is going somewhere. And whether you are a fly or whether you're a little mouse, everybody has a home. And yet everyone is a guest. It's a very big bed and breakfast house. They're the most beautiful and wonderful cook that cooks up the day, cooks up the oxygen, cooks up the water, keeps the cooking of the stars above, keeps sound humming from north to south, from southwest to east. And somehow we have a most beautiful unidirectional of our noses. Wherever you point your nose, your eyes can follow so easily. And to have our toes pointed in one particular direction, and how we can make fun with our bodies and point our head into another direction, and somehow twist our bodies and have a little fun. But that what the back is for, it is to bend. It's not to keep it straight. If the white people can just relax a little bit and start to move their hips a lot more like the Africans. But we have taught our people to be too stiff, to keep the hips too stiff. And somehow we've lost our rhythm, we've lost our dance. Gotten into our heads maybe a little too much. And yet the head, and yet the mind, and yet the Western world, and yet all this technology and all this higher science is beautiful and necessary to have. We need to get smarter with it and learn. We need to learn it all. But we have to remember we all still have to lie down. We all still have to go to the toilet. We all still want to be loved and touched. We all still need to be accepted and want to be accepted and love to be accepted. We all love to eat. And sometimes we love to cry. Sometimes we wish we could cry in a crowd. But we can't. Many times we wish to say that I love you, but I can't. Maybe my anger is too strong. Maybe my hatred's in the way. Maybe I built too many walls, or maybe I just feel not ready. But the trouble with not ready is that not ready, so many days can go by, so many sunsets can elapse, so many full moons can transpire, and before I know it, I'm 55, and before I know it, I'm 80, and before I know it, the last breath is leaving my lungs and I am passing away. Now what happened that I'm not ready? And I wonder when is not ready. I wonder when. For to have a tongue and to have a jaw that can easily say to have a little of intelligence, all I need is an IQ of 76, and I can easily say I'm not ready. And somehow it's a postponement. Somehow I put a sign out that I will be back at 1, maybe. Somehow I will wait to grow up, maybe. Somehow I'm not ready. Somehow I'm not ready to stop the war inside my head. Somehow I'm not ready to say that I really care. Somehow it's very easy to say I'm not ready to stop being bitter. Somehow I can say I'm not ready to stop my revenge. And somehow life has a most peculiar way and means for time to easily be camouflaged, for time to be easily hide itself in the shadows, not just the shadows of a city, a village, a town, not just the shadow of a wall, not just the shadow of a blade of grass, and not just your own shadow, where there's no more tick, 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 tock. Nothing to gauge upon, but another reflection of a window, another reflection of a mirror, another reflection of oneself. Another thought to ride like a galloping horse and a galloping little cow. And before you know it, I'm 53. And before you know it, I'm 83. And before you know it, I'm 13. And before you know it, I'm 26. And before you know it, I am 33. And before you know it, I am 47. And before you know it, I am 49. Before you know it, I am 96. And before you know it, I am almost 3. And before you know it, I am almost 5. And before you know it, I am 17. And before you know it, I am 19. And before you know it, I am 59. And before you know it, I am 32. And before you know it, I am 22. And before you know it, I am 25. And before you know it, I am 806. And before you know it, that's the last full moon. Life has given you 10 good fingers and 10 good toes for very good reason. And not just to stand erect, but to remember where you have come from. And to remember there can always be another finger or another toe. Life has put your brains on the top of your body for a very good reason. To always seek up and always look up when you can or you have a little time. Life has not put your eyes in the back of your back for a very good reason. That is what the past is for. It's gone. It's over. Understand it, but don't live in it. Life has put your eyes in the front of your head so you can always look ahead. To let you know that your future is very, very important. Not just to run into trees, or to go and catch fish, or to go build a building. But your future is very important. Always look ahead. And life has put your ears to the side of your head so you don't hear ahead, but to keep your hearing peripheral. And for somehow you do come from the side, as well as from the front, as well as from behind, as well as from below, as well as from above. For that is really what on-cause light is all about. It's unidirectional. Put the fans back on. Put the lights back on, please.
what did you just say? It's unidirectional or the unconscious side is unidirectional?
Yeah. For uncaused light does not come from the east, it does not come from the south, it does not come from the north. That does not come from the northeast, the southwest, the northwest. But where do you come from? Where do you come from? Ask yourself. I come from Ireland, I come from America, I come from Indonesia, I come from Java, I come from Hawaii, I come from Alaska, I come from Angola, I come from the Congo, I come from Algeria, I come from Egypt, I come from above, I come from below, I come from the ocean, I come from the sky. Where do you come from? And yet the beauty of this uncaused light, even though this is even more uncaused light, this condensant lighting, it gives us the time so we can see each other. We have the walls and the speakers and the technology, electricity and wires, so we can hear and relax. Even in the people in the back. And yet then one wonders and searches with this caused light emanating from the sun. They run to other lands, they run into books, they run here and there, using this light of cause, actually creating more cause and effect inside for their references and all their little boxes inside their head to carefully label everything in this world, and yet it is good. Encyclopedias are beautiful, encyclopedias are most wonderful. It's all cause and effect. And when human beings finally lose their footing, they find themselves at the bottom of the barrel. It seems to them that only human beings, they go to seek what is above, to seek something else that they do not comprehend or understand. But I say to you, that is the worst footing, that is the worst step to start. But you human beings, they seek what is above, because they're desperate, because things do not work out for themselves, because they're lonely, or because they hate life. It is best to get your matters all straightened out first. In essence, to get your mind straight first. So you don't play hide and seek with yourself. So you don't play dollhouse. So you don't play mother or father when you're a little too young. That you don't play businessman when you're too crooked inside your head. That you don't play friend when you're not. But that you can play straight with yourself, play straight with your buildings, play straight with your technology, play straight with your community. Play straight with your left hand and your right hand. And once your mind is no longer your enemy, but your friend, you have the best friend you can ever have. For whether you pass away, this friend goes with you. Even when you go to sleep, this friend goes with you. Even when you cry or everybody hates you, this friend is with you. So befriend your best friend first. Know yourself. And where you hate inside yourself, learn to understand and give yourself patience. And where you find ignorance, you put light onto it and educate it. And where you're weak, it's okay. Nothing wrong with being weak. And where you're strong, that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with being strong. There's nothing wrong with finding nothing but empty spaces and ignorance and beauty and intelligence anywhere inside you. Forget to know it all, for it takes all of it to be. This world cannot be a world without mud, without a swamp, without a storm, without a clear day. This is what we are too. We are storms, we are clear days, we are sandstorms, we are earthquakes, and we are even tornadoes sometimes. For the human being to be a true human being, you have to claim it all. And be at peace with it. Turn off the Your life is your life. Learn to love your life. And yet we all know it's not so easy to love almost anything in this world. And if you cannot love it, respect it. It is very difficult to really almost like anybody in this world, but always respect everybody. Whether it be a person that lives in the streets or a person that harms others, always respect everything. And yet, most of all, respect yourself. Respect your ignorance, respect your harm, respect where you abuse, respect where you pretend, respect where you're kind, respect where you're intelligent, respect where you labor, respect where you forget, respect when you cry, and respect yourself when you laugh, respect when you trip, respect yourself when you can't understand. And you will find that your bones will always stay very agile, very resilient. You'll always find your heart and your mind always knowing where each bone is at all times. nekititititi neaini nyua. Nyua nekititititi neaini nete ha. Peace to your minds. Peace to your hearts. Peace to your life. Nete ha. Nete. Take a break.